I call to order the regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. The time is now 7:01 p.m. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting was emailed to the Daily Record and the Morris News-Bee on January 3rd, 2025, and posted on the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available on morristwp.com under the Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and township staff: any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Grayzel.
Here.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Here.
Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Mr. Jonnada.
Here.
Mayor Guariglia.
Here. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of Morris Township firefighter Kevin Flanagan. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We could have a moment of silence. And now I would like to turn it over to Township Committee Member Gyorfy, who will say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. And first, I'd like to thank the fire chief and the fire department for everything they organized over the past week for Kevin Flanagan's family. I'm going to read some comments from Chief Nunn on Kevin to give some background and to send our condolences to the Flanagan family. Firefighter Kevin Flanagan was not only a dedicated firefighter, but a kind, loyal, and selfless man who served his community with unwavering commitment. He touched the lives of so many, both in and out of the firehouse, and his loss is deeply felt by all who knew him. His memory and legacy will live on in the hearts of his fire family and the community he so proudly served. Kevin began his distinguished fire service career on December 6, 1983, at just the age of 18, when he joined the Morristown Fire Department, Washington Engine Co. No. 1, as a volunteer. Demonstrating early dedication and passion for serving his community, Kevin transferred to the Morris Township Fire Department, Mount Campbell Fire Company, on December 17, 1986. In June 1986, Kevin applied to become a career firefighter with Morris Township, and on May 4, 1987, he officially began and what would become a 26-year career marked by courage, professionalism, and compassion. He faithfully served the residents of Morris Township until his retirement on December 31st, 2013. Kevin will be remembered not only for his bravery and service, but most of all for his kindness, humility, and commitment to helping others. His legacy lives on in the lives he touched and the many firefighters he mentored throughout his career. We extend our heartfelt condolences to Kevin's family, friends, and all those who had the privilege of working alongside him. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeeman Gyorfy. You can be seated, and thank you to our Morris Township firefighters who came to share, and we do all pass along our condolences to the Flanagan family. The next thing on the agenda, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 16th, 2025, closed in regular session by one motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have one proclamation on our agenda this evening for Suicide Awareness Month. Deputy Mayor Grayzel will present the proclamation and offer his remarks.
Thank you, Mayor. Suicide Awareness Month is taking place in September, but given that this is the closest meeting to the beginning of September, we wanted to acknowledge it here today. And I am honored to do so because I have been impacted by two suicides of people who I knew in my life. It's often the case that you are unaware of issues in the community, in our country, until it affects you personally. And when it affects you personally, all of a sudden you realize how important it is to take notice of it and take action on it and feel compassion for the families and the people that are involved. And this is the purpose of having a suicide awareness proclamation, to make the community aware of what's happening. So I'm honored to do this tonight, and I do this in honor of the two people who I knew in my life, who were impacted, who died by suicide. And may their memories be a blessing to their family and friends who miss them dearly. So I'll read a few points out of this proclamation. I won't read the whole thing, but it starts off by saying, whereas September marks National Suicide Prevention Month, a time to remember the lives lost to suicide, to support those who have struggled with suicide ideation, and to acknowledge the individuals, families, and communities impacted by suicide. And whereas the goals of National Suicide Prevention Month include raising awareness of the mental health resources and suicide prevention services available in our community, reducing the stigma associated with talking about mental health and suicide, building understanding of the causes of suicide and how to prevent it, and ensuring that those in need receive appropriate support services. So I just want to state a couple facts here, that suicide is the 11th leading cause of death in the United States as of 2023. Another whereas clause here, which is super important to me, is that whereas firearms remain the most common method in suicides, accounting for 55% of suicide deaths in 2023, and that the implementation of red flag laws has been shown to reduce suicide rates. I always say when I talk about gun violence, that in relation to suicide, when people want to commit suicide, they often fail. There's a lot of failed suicides. But when somebody chooses to use a gun, it's almost 100% effective. And if they don't have access to that gun, we can prevent so many suicides. So the red flag laws are really important, and the safe storage laws are really important for this very reason that we're talking about tonight. On July 16th, 2022, a nationwide 988 suicide crisis lifeline became operational, connecting people to compassionate, accessible care and support for those experiencing mental health distress. So everybody in the community should know that dialing 988 is one thing that people can do. And lastly, I want to mention that there's a whereas clause in accordance with our values as a stigma-free community. The Township of Morris affirms its full support of local educators, mental health professionals, athletic coaches, community leaders, law enforcement officers, organizations, and parents in their roles as partners in suicide prevention. And we've heard about how many kids in our school system, starting at very young ages, are bullied and under a lot of pressure. And it's really, really important, this last part, about supporting the local educators who are sometimes the frontline people in understanding what's happening with our children and can prevent it. And we really need to support our teachers, I believe, with many more resources so that they can be fully aware of when those are happening to our school-age kids. So again, I'm on. You'll find this on our website, and I urge you to go read the full proclamation. But again, I'm honored to be reading this into the record tonight. Thank you, Mayor, on behalf again of those two that have impacted me in my life and changed. When it happens to you, I tell you, it changes your perspective on this, and it's the same with every single issue that we come across day in and day out. So when we read these proclamations month after month, I really urge everybody to pay attention, because we're doing it for a reason, to raise the awareness that's so important in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And again, I hope that everybody takes down the 988 number. And if you know of anybody suffering, please step in and try to get them help. At this time, we will open public commentary. There are 5 members of the public joining us via Zoom and 6 here in person. We'll first take comments from the in-person attendees, and then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please raise your hand in Zoom if you would like to speak. Please state your name and if you are a resident or non-resident for the record. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, and thank you all for your service. I'm Sally Muscarella, a resident of 11 Eagle Nest Road in the township, and I've lived in the township since 1989. I'm here tonight to talk about food composting and to ask for your action to begin a food composting program in Morris Township. I'm also a member of the Garden Club of America, a nonpartisan organization of 18,000 members that advocates and works for the environment at the national, state, and at the local level. Our local chapter is the Garden Club of Morristown, which is comprised of about 65 members, including many from Morris Township. I'm chair of the Conservation Committee for the Garden Club of Morristown, and with me tonight are Nancy Bangiola and Kathy Seabrook from the Garden Club of Morristown. So thank you. Food composting, as you know, is critical to human health and the environment because food waste in our landfills generates methane, which is 80 times more toxic than CO2 over a 20-year time frame. Composting further improves the environment by enriching our soil and avoiding fertilizers. The state of New Jersey is encouraging composting, and there are economic benefits to a successful composting program. I recently shared some economic study information with Jeff and Siva, the township committee members who serve as liaisons to the Environmental Commission. I know what is possible in terms of reducing what is going into the landfill from visiting my daughter and her family who now live in California. Their landfill bucket is 1/3 the size of the bucket they use for yard waste and food compost, and also 1/3 the size of the other bin, the recycling bin. So in other words, they've got 3 buckets, one little one that's going to the landfill, one for composting, organic materials and food waste, and the other for recycling, normal size buckets. And then it's just great to see. So what an impact to the environment and the cost of trash. Jersey City, Princeton, and Hoboken are leaders in food composting in New Jersey. Our neighboring towns, including Maplewood, Short Hills, Milburn, this sounds like the train line, Summit, Madison, and Morristown have started food composting programs. There are 95 cities and towns in New Jersey with food composting programs. Most of these programs start with drop-off sites for food compost. And I recommend that given the size of Morristown, that we start with at least 2 drop-off sites. We were delighted to learn that our Morris Township Environmental Commission, led by Brian Morgan, would like to develop a food composting program for the township, working with the Township Committee and the DPW. The Environmental Commission proposals need your support because they continue to get hung up. Can I ask, does the Township Committee support the start of a food composting program? And if so, what are the next steps to get it done?
Thank you very much for your comments, and I will let both Committeeman Jonnada and Deputy Mayor Grayzel speak to this as well, because they have brought to the rest of the committee's attention what we're working on with the Environmental Commission. And again, I'm not going to speak for every member. I think we all understand and do support composting. We're just trying to find the most viable way for us to institute the program. So I don't know, do either of you have more?
Steve, you want to go first?
Yeah, just as a personal note, I mean, I've been doing composting on my end for 18 years, and I can attest to what your daughter does in California, that, we have 3 bins, recycling, regular trash, and food compost. And the food compost for us just goes to our backyard compost anyway. Mm-hmm. In terms of community composting or community food waste collection, we're still working on that. I mean, we're looking at making sure that it's DEP compliant, and that's one of the things. And I think there are ways to go around that to look at it. But we'll keep working on it. I think we'll find some kind of resolution.
Yeah, and maybe the other towns can lend some help.
Yeah, there are some towns that I've contacted that did. I'm not sure how many in our neighboring towns, but we'll be able to, I know some towns, they don't have a municipal lot or anything, but they do have, you see compost bins in their
Yes.
towns itself. But, yeah, we're looking at, we're seriously looking
Yeah,
at.
I'm sure it's a multi-step journey, but,
Yeah,
you know, starting with some drop-off bins, and there's third parties, as you said, that
Right.
offer those services.
Mhm.
So for an easy
Right.
starting point.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I can just add that you mentioned a bunch of environmental reasons for composting, right? There's other reasons too. You're taking food out of the garbage stream reduces you mentioned the landfill, right? And the methane that gets caused. But taking the garbage, the food waste out of the garbage stream actually reduces the cost of us having to process our garbage. So there's monetary benefits as well. And while you said that New Jersey encourages composting, they don't really make it very easy, unfortunately, to do it. And while we try to do it here in Morris Township, I think a stronger initiatives coming out of Trenton would push this initiative along further, right, to make it easier for us to do it. And we're finding some of the roadblocks are actually in Trenton, not here in Morris Township, unfortunately. But we're going to move forward, and we're meeting with DEP, and we're going to see how we can make it happen, because I want to see it happen, and we're going to try to see if this governing body can make it happen here.
If our garden club can help in any way, we'd be delighted to. And we strongly believe local action leads to state action. And the fact that so many cities and towns are doing it is encouraging.
Do you do any composting at the garden? Do you have a garden a community garden that you're working out of? Is the garden club?
We don't, we work at Foots Pond in the Nave Gardens. We don't have a community garden. Many of the members do their own composting. But we work at a variety of community projects. Composting is one that we're starting this year. So we'd be happy to lend support.
Good. I'll just share with you one story. A story that I heard this week, because we had thought about trying to do composting at our community garden on Picatinny Road in Morris Township. We thought that would be a great place. But what we heard from the feedback we got from some of the gardeners is that when there are bugs on the produce, right, that are infecting the garden, if you put anything that has a bug or an egg on it into the compost, it then perpetuates that disease into the compost that then gets put back in the garden, and you're perpetuating that disease back into the garden. That's something I hadn't heard about before. So you actually have to heat treat it to a certain temperature in order to actually put it back into a food garden. So there's that new element that came into play this week that I was not aware of before. So
I feel there's
heat treating the compost.
There's a lot of helpful resources out there to get programs off the ground. There's an enormous amount. And Brian Morgan on the Environmental Commission is very plugged in to all the resources to launch a successful program.
Thank you for pushing
Thank you.
Keep pushing.
We will. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and especially for all your hard work on this. And, any way we can help support going forward, we will.
So, Mayor, if you may, she brought up Township of Milburn, where I'm also the municipal attorney, and they do composting there. Livingston's also looking to pilot it, so I'm happy to discuss with you, Committee Siva, Deputy Mayor, to let you know how they do it and who they're looking at, and I'm very aware of how they got that done.
I've actually talked to the person who runs the Milburn program, so I can happily discuss that too.
Good.
Thank you, Committeeman Jonnada. I would like to take a quick minute and welcome Committeeman Jonnada. Has some family here visiting from India. So happy to have you here. We hope that you learned something about how municipal government runs here, and very exciting to have you here visiting. Thank you for coming. Is there anyone else here in the meeting room who would like to approach the podium? Please.
Hi, good evening. My name is John Peebles. I live on 12 Mill Road in the township. And I wanted to come tonight and first of all, thank you for the fair and welcoming resolution that you passed back in January. I think that was incredibly important. Since January, things have gotten much worse in terms of the federal government attacking people that I know here in the township. I'm concerned about Fourth Amendment violations with unreasonable search and seizures, with home and workplace raids that are being conducted without warrants. The Fifth Amendment is being violated with prolonged detentions at places like Delaney Hall, right here in New Jersey. And the Eighth Amendment is being violated because of the cruel and unusual punishment when people don't get adequate food or medical supplies when they're being incarcerated. At Delaney Hall on Sunday, I met a woman, for example, whose husband was arrested out of their apartment. He answered a knock on the door from a single officer. As soon as he opened the door, 6 ICE agents came out of the hallway, tackled him, and arrested him, and he's been held ever since. Another woman I met had just come to visit her husband for the 3rd time and been denied a visit every single time for some sort of technicality that's not posted accurately on the website. At Delaney Hall, they say, oh, visiting hours are 8 to 6, but each zone is only has a certain amount of time when people can come visit. This woman's husband was moved from one zone to another. She had no way of knowing that. So by the time she showed up, at the time she thought she was supposed to, she was denied a visit for the 3rd time. I think we can do a lot to build on what you've already done in 4025 that would be consistent with what you've already done. And I emailed you each a copy of a draft of a resolution. No pride of authorship in there at all, more as a guideline, but there are 5 major points that I think can fill gaps in what has happened since January. First of all, we can put specific limitations on what the federal government can do in enforcement actions in Morris Township, specifically making sure that all township employees are trained how to respond to enforcement actions. We can create safe zones, specific places where people know that they can go in the township. Data privacy, let's make sure that we don't have stored in any of our township documents or records anybody's immigration status or anything that could be used against them. Community empowerment, working directly. If the township could work and leverage some of the resources that are here in town, there are places like RAMP and others that are providing low cost or free legal services to people who need them. And then the last thing to do would be to have an oversight committee that you would appoint to make sure that we're living up to the things that we want to do and publish an annual report so that everyone in the township knows what we're able to do in this area. I think it would be great to move quickly because people are suffering now. And ultimately, my personal feeling is that if we don't act, we're complicit. And I hate feeling that way. And I wanted to ask if I could ask questions. Is this something that you have considered? This is my first time coming to one of these meetings, so I don't know what's been put on the table before.
You can ask questions. I think, though, appreciate all your comments and totally understand your position. Mr. Cantor, do you want to address
Sure. So
where we
I think
currently
that
stand in this?
I think this governing body is completely sympathetic and empathetic and supportive of everything that you said. I don't want to speak for them, so but I can say that the federal government and ICE has legal supremacy in the township and in the state, and the concept of safe zones don't have any real legal effect. ICE agents can still go into safe zones. It's just creating a community space. And I know I think with the new administration, they've entered some of those safe zones and some of those sanctuary cities, which I think you've alluded to. So even like a city like Newark, which I think is a sanctuary city and has safe zones, ICE has gone into those safe zones and those sanctuary cities and arrested people. So I think, the resolution they passed here, I think is supportive of that position. This governing body certainly is and doesn't want to, all these things sound horrible, but there's not much the municipality can do other than pass resolutions and talk to their own elected officials, which I know this governing body is very active with, our congressional representatives. But it's coming from, the executive office of the United States, and there's not much else this municipality can do. I think they would do all they can do. But, it's the laws of the United States, and it comes up in all my towns. And some of those things you suggested, and, Mr. Quinn's here, and I think some of those are good ideas with the information and things of that nature, and not cooperating. But as far as, blocking or safe zones,
No, I understand that. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But providing areas where people know that you can force ICE to have a warrant to get into certain township property.
Yeah, so ICE would have to have a warrant to come in and arrest. So I think
Right.
whoever you said they knocked on the door and pulled him out, they likely had a warrant and a detainer, and they were likely allowed to take him. I don't know that specific fact, but that is what the law says. They can't just go into somebody's house and arrest them without a warrant of arrest or detainer.
Mr. Peebles, I want to thank you for your continued activism in this regard, and I believe the governing body up here is very sympathetic. I know I am. I'm the one that wrote the resolution.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of maxed out what we think we can do legally in our resolution. I think that there's some great ideas that you do have. I think educating the public is something that we can do on an ongoing basis, and we'll certainly look into that. But I think it's incumbent upon us in these very anxiety-ridden times for all of us to become activists in our own way, and not to be blinded or jaded by just bad news after horrendous news that we see coming out of our nation's capital. It's horrendous, and I encourage everybody, whether who's listening to this, to do what you can where you are with what you have for as long as you can, to resist, because it's going to take we the people to right a listing ship. And right now we are, in my mind, a listing ship. But thankfully, your governing body here in the township is looking after the residents as best we can.
Great.
So thank you for your continued activism.
Well, thank you guys very much for what you've done. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. We have one hand up on Zoom. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to approach the podium? If not, then Mr. McCormick.
Hi. Yeah, this is Robbie McCormick. I'm a resident of 36 Center Avenue. And I just want to reiterate my support for the tree ordinance. I spoke on this back at the March committee meeting, particularly changes that would implement more protections for trees on smaller lots. As the ordinance stands now, I believe the language says it allows for the removal of 8 trees in a 5-year period without a permit, I think.
Correct.
And for those of us who live on smaller lots in denser neighborhoods of the township, many lots don't even have 8 trees. So I'd like to see some changes to the ordinance that would be a bit stricter on permits for tree removal, because even one large tree removal can really affect neighboring properties and the neighborhood as a whole in these denser areas, like I said. I continue to see large, healthy trees cut down, and with climate change and the flash floods the state has been experiencing this summer, I think we need to be mindful of that and try and preserve trees to the greatest extent possible. And yeah, I just hope the committee will keep this on their radar. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We certainly will. And again, any input we get, we'll continually try to refine the ordinance to fit any situation that comes up. So thank you. Appreciate it. Seeing no other members of the public wishing to speak, will someone make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There are no ordinances for public hearing or introduction on our agenda this evening. We do have 26 resolutions on tonight's agenda. Committee member Gyorfy will recuse himself from resolution 200-25 due to his role in the fire department. May I have a motion to approve resolutions number 180-25 through 199-25 and 201-25 through 205-25 by one motion?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve resolution number 200-25?
So, second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mayor Griglia.
Yes. We have 2 items on the consent calendar this evening. May I have a motion to approve?
Did we do 205?
Just did.
I think you just moved 200, but not 2.
No, 205 is the,
Oh, was it
is
the
the
first one?
total.
Oh, I thought you
Right,
were
right,
leaving
right.
205 out for some reason.
No,
Okay.
no.
Oh, no.
Okay, very good.
Yep. We have 2 items on the consent calendar this evening. May I have a motion to approve both items by one motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consideration of monthly reports. The following reports are on record with the Township Clerk and the Township Administrator. June 2025, Police and Joint Court. July 2025, Tax Collector, Morris Township Public Library, and the Police. May I have a motion to approve the monthly reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Claims for payment, list of bills and vouchers. The total amount of bills and vouchers for this meeting is $17,741,929.46. We are also the tax collector for the school district, the library, and the county. May I have a motion to approve the list of bills and vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mayor Griglia.
Yes. We will now hear standing committee reports and general commentary from each member of the Township Committee, and we'll begin with Committeeman Jonnada.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I mourn the loss of the former township firefighter Kevin Flanagan, as well as former Madison Councilman John Hoover, who also passed away recently. I met John in my capacity as member of the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee. He was on the executive committee, so I do really miss his insight in many things. And it was a good loss for Madison and for our community. And in terms of committee highlights, the Transportation Advisory Committee continues with their Morris Township in Motion events. On August 9th, there was a walk in Jones Woods, which is located near Burnham Park. And earlier that week, the Township's Parks and Rec worked with the Invasive Species Strike Force to help eradicate invasives in Jones Woods, and more invasive treatments will be needed. In future Morris in Motion events, there's one September 6th at Frelinghuysen Arboretum, September 13th at Fairchild Neighborhood, and a senior citizens walk at the Future Community Center on Jean Street. That's on September 18th. And you can sign up at the Township webpage. And the Environmental Commission, this past Monday, Madison hosted an event on Dark Skies Initiative. It was Deputy Mayor Jeff Grayzel and our Environmental Commission Chair Brian Morgan also spoke, and they introduced Steve Mariconda, who is a Saddlebrook EC chair, who spoke about the Dark Skies Initiative, and is looking to reduce the night lighting for various reasons because of harm to insects, mammals, plants, and trees. And humans are also harmed due to sleep disruption. The towns that have passed Dark Skies Ordinance recently are Morristown and Mendham Township, who have just passed it just this past week. And so we're looking into we are looking ourselves to set up a Dark Skies Ordinance, and you'll see that we'll have more discussion on that. This month also marks the 78th year of independence for both India and Pakistan. India continues to be the world's largest democracy, although it's currently undergoing some disruptions. Just as the world's oldest democracy, this country is also undergoing disruptions. My parents' generation remembers listening to Prime Minister Nehru speak of the freedom at the midnight hour when India had tryst with destiny. And we have to look forward to a proclamation. We missed our chance this year, but next year we'll definitely have a proclamation recognizing India's Independence Day. And since I couldn't do it last time, I just wanted to talk about the Marquis de Lafayette. Continuing the 250th anniversary of this nation's birth, Morristown commemorated the 200th anniversary of the visit of the Marquis de Lafayette at this town. The Marquis de Lafayette was a young French aristocrat who arrived to this country to fight for its independence. He was 19 years old when he came here in 1777, when he met General Washington. Because of his military training, he was immediately made a major general. This is not an empty title, since he fought valiantly at Brandywine, Monmouth, and Yorktown. His biggest contribution was in notifying Washington of the French government sending troops and materiel for the American cause. He actually met him in Morristown, where this is commemorated at the statue on the green. This French alliance would lead to victory at Yorktown, where the French outnumbered the Americans 2-1. After the victory, Lafayette returned to France and ended up playing a pivotal role in the French Revolution, which began in 1789. During the French Revolution, the Marquis paid the price for being a moderate. Robespierre sent a warrant for his arrest, which he avoided, but then he was imprisoned by the Austrian government for 5 years. He was eventually freed and lived a contemplative life when he was invited by President Monroe to help the new generation of Americans to remember the revolution, since it was nearly 50 years since it was fought. Lafayette toured all 24 states, including New Jersey, and he came to Morristown on July 4th, Bastille Day. The 200th anniversary followed the pattern with cannon fire to begin the parade and a celebration at Sansey House onto Hart Street. Many wore period costumes from that time, including Morristown's Mayor Doherty in a top hat and tails. Carol Barkin of the Morris Township Historical Preservation announced the beginning of the parade, and there are many exhibits were on the green. A symposium was held the next day at the county library. Panelists included discussed Lafayette's human rights legacy. He was actually an early abolitionist, a proto-feminist, a prison reformer, and a fighter for religious freedom. Although Catholic, Lafayette fought for the rights of French Protestants and Jews. He was also against the death penalty as well as solitary confinement, since he was himself confined in that way when he was in prison. Americans have honored Lafayette back then and have through the years. Many towns were named after him, as is Lafayette College, which holds a large collection related to him. During World War I, Americans fought in the French Air Force, forming the Lafayette Escadrille. When the U.S. officially entered the war, an American military delegation went to Lafayette's grave outside Paris and declared, "Lafayette, we are here." He was also a major character in the musical Hamilton, where the incomparable David Diggs leaped off a table, rapidly rapping guns and ships. And he also spoke the memorable line at Hamilton, "Immigrants, we get the job done." And now in our own time, when we see rotting fruits because they're not being picked, and people just being picked off the street with warrants or maybe not warrants, and people just maybe not even illegals, but people who didn't have the documentation in time. People are feeling the impact of the loss of immigrants doing things, and even to our day, immigrants still get the job done, whether people realize it or not, and soon enough they will. But before that, vive Lafayette, right here. I got these at the green. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Gyorfy, and to your family.
Jonnada.
Committeeman Jonnada, and to your
Siva
family. Just
Bulgarian.
want you to know that every month, Siva is kind of our historian up here on the dais, so it's very nice. He gives us all a little bit of history. So, and now we'll move on to Committeeman Gyorfy.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome, Siva's family. I hope you're enjoying this riveting meeting. We come back frequently, whether it's in person or online. Again, I wanted to send my heartfelt condolences to the Flanagan family. I had the privilege of serving with Kevin briefly while he was still a paid fireman in Morris Township, and he was one of the nicest and kindest people in the department. Always willing to lend a helping hand and take the time to help train the younger firefighters. And even after he retired, he would remember everyone's name when he would come around again and never forgot who he worked with. So his passing was way too soon. And again, condolences to his family and to the broader fire service. Want to provide an update. It's a bit off in November, Veterans Day, but we will be reopening our application process and applications for veterans banners, which will go up for the month of November, honoring those who served our country, who live within our community. So those applications will be posted to the website and on our social media pages, I believe, after Labor Day. Those banners cost $200. The cost pays for the banner, and the remaining funds are considered a donation to the American Legion Post 59 here in Morristown, who provides great services to our veterans across the area. So we're looking forward to continuing to expand that program. This spring, they started to be hung on Woodland Avenue, which is absolutely great, and looking forward to hearing more names called at the Veterans Day service of those who we're honoring. My last report is just to report how quickly the work at Collinsville Playground is happening. The contractor has been on site for about a month now, and they are working very fast to get the project done. And Mr. Ravitz and I had a meeting with Bill Fulch and Mr. Quinn on the progress, and we were optimistic about it being completed before Halloween. So we're looking forward to that, and we're really looking forward to the residents of Collinsville to finally have a modern facility for their kids to go to, for their families to gather, and for them to enjoy throughout the year. So with that, I'll yield back, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Ravitz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief tonight. Welcome to the Jonnada family. Hope you're enjoying your stay in our township in New Jersey and in America. I'd also like to express my heartfelt condolences to the Flanagan family. And as the deputy mayor said, he had said this up to some of the folks that he knew that had committed suicide. May his memory forever be a blessing upon his family and on the department. I'd also like to welcome Corey Russo to the Morris Township Police Department as a probationary officer. We did approve that by resolution tonight. The deputy mayor and I had the privilege of interviewing with him, and he is an outstanding candidate, and I applaud not only his appointment, but I continue to be amazed at just how well the quality of the people that Chief Scheer brings to the police standing committee to interview, and we are just privileged to recommend him to be a police officer here in the town. I'd also like to thank the Parks and Rec Department for another great year for concerts and movies. I know we had to juggle the schedule a little bit because of the rain, but we got them all in, and they were all very, very well attended. So great job by the Parks and Rec Department. Really appreciate the residents, who continue to show up for township events. We do this for you, and we're glad that you all take advantage of it. And I want to wish everybody a great rest of the summer. We're quickly heading, based on the weather, we're heading into fall real fast. Stay healthy, enjoy the summer, and as you go about your business each and every day, remember to be kind to yourselves and kind to others, because it matters. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Thank you. Mr. Jonnada mentioned that we had the Dark Skies event earlier this week. I was amazed at how many people showed up and how many towns were represented, and they came from pretty far away to learn about Dark Skies. As I mentioned with composting, I always like to take the approaches, even though I am an environmentalist and I want to do things to protect the environment, I recognize that there are people out there who are not that way, right? They might have other priorities in their life, and the environment is not top of mind for them. So I always like to put it in perspective so that everybody can understand. And with the composting, I had mentioned that it can save us money by taking the food waste out of the garbage stream. So same with Dark Skies. We have heard here in New Jersey about the huge electric bill increases that we've all been seeing. Electric rates went up a lot the last couple of months. and implementing a stronger dark sky policy here in Morris Township as an example of what we can do around the state will help conserve energy in addition to keeping the dark skies, the skies dark at night so we can see the stars, protecting the insects, as Mr. Jonnada had mentioned. And I didn't actually know how much pollinating the moths do at night. And when we have lights on, the moths get attracted to the light and they don't actually do their job of pollinating the plants. It was a learning for me on Monday night. But by reducing the use of electricity at night actually reduces the demand for electricity, and prices are a result of supply and demand. So if we can reduce the demand, hopefully the price of electricity can come down too. So another benefit of promoting dark skies and implementing a stronger policy here in Morris Township. I always like to highlight the infrastructure improvements that we're doing here in Morris Township. We had a very successful road overlay program this year. A lot of streets got done. The list of streets was on our website. I believe that's completed, correct, Mr. Quinn?
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
Very good. And I know we just also completed a special project of Whitehead Road, which is a connector street on the western end of town. We still have Harder Road to go. And is Gaston going to get done this year?
Gaston had to be postponed because the water utility is going to be putting in a water main from Sussex Avenue to Washington Valley Road.
Okay, but we continue to do infrastructure work. The Ridgewood Road project, Elmar Woods Road is still on tap for
That should be starting this fall.
this fall. Yep, this year. So again, a lot of infrastructure work here. On the agenda tonight, we had an award for a contract for signal improvement at Cadena and no, not Cadena and Sussex. The Gen Electric is for which one?
Gaston Road in Sussex and James Street in Hartford.
Right. That was 196.25, but didn't we have an issue with the traffic signal at Cadena and Sussex also?
Yes, we had to replace the camera.
Yeah.
That was a different project.
Okay, very good. So anyway, we're working on these various infrastructure projects across the town, and I always like to highlight the money that we spend to keep our town in tip-top shape. I just have one general comment tonight, and that relates to the affordable housing that we've been discussing over the last few months. It's been in the news across the state and the obligations that every town has, and that I believe that we've done a great job in Morris Township in implementing the requirements to put affordable housing in our town, just as the same obligation is upon all other towns in New Jersey. But as I stated before, with relation to composting and how Trenton and the legislation that comes out of our state government doesn't make it easy to do things. I have said before on the dais that the implementation of affordable housing is not as good as I think it could be. And one of the things that I've been promoting is workforce housing to try to make sure that the people who support our community, the firefighters, the police, the educators, the teachers, have an affordable place to live close to town, that they can raise their families in the town in which they teach or police, not have to travel long distance, 45 minutes an hour. Some of them come from Pennsylvania. It's just crazy. And I think we need to do better in that respect here in New Jersey. And I'd like to see us try to implement something along those lines here in Morris Township, if it's at all possible. And then somebody else this week brought to the attention to me of the needs of the aging community in New Jersey and how they need special setups at home. Everything has to be on one floor. They need special stoves so they make sure that they can't overcook things and start fires, bathtubs they can walk into, those kind of amenities that we need built into new housing units that we're building in our community. So something else I'd like to see us try to do at some point, working with the developers to try to provide for those communities that are in need of those kinds of things. So I just wanted to share that as a talking point tonight. And we'll see what we can do.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Deputy
Appreciate
Mayor. I too would like to extend my deepest sympathies to the family of firefighter Kevin Flanagan and also to Committeeman Gyorfy and his fellow firefighters who feel this loss even more deeply. I'd also like to send my sympathies to the family of Amy Anderson, who was a 100-year-old, longtime Morris Township resident who gave so much to our community. So our sympathies to the Anderson family as well. Congratulations to Bernie Sanger on his retirement from our engineering department, and we thank him for his outstanding work while he was here. One more little thing on suicide awareness I just wanted to point out, because I work with the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, and just that mental health continues to be one of our most pressing health concerns for many seniors. And we all need to be aware of any changes that we see affecting behavior or overall mood of those that we care about. We need to monitor our seniors as well to be sure that they don't feel alone and isolated. I want to announce that we will be announcing the next coffee with the mayor date will be coming up, but a new thing that we're doing with my fellow Madison and 2 Chatham mayors, on October 4th, we are going on a mayor's walk through Jones Woods at 12 noon. And actually Carolyn Dempsey, who is the mayor of Chatham, did the last one, where the 4 mayors, we go for a walk together. We invite any residents from any of the municipalities to join us. So we not only talk about what's just going on here, but it's nice to have our surrounding towns and have some discussion sharing those interests with the municipalities that are closest to us. I attended National Night Out on August 5th, where our law enforcement and fire departments and EMS plus many others were representing, and we were showing off all of our equipment. It was a great night for our families with kids, games, and other activities, and a lot of the kids get to meet our local heroes. It finished up with a concert at Ginty Field that the Parks and Rec put on, and as Committeeman Ravitz said, they've done, again this summer, such a great job with all our movie nights and concerts. Optimum will be having a ribbon cutting on September 10th over at the marketplace, and that will pretty much will be at capacity there. So that's exciting. And I would also just like to take a moment to thank all the residents that take the time to come out to our local government meetings. You play a crucial role in shaping the future of our community. Your voices are being heard, and your ideas and insights help us make informed decisions that do reflect the needs of the community. We will do a better job of informing residents in a more timely manner and encourage everybody to please sign up for the Municipal Messenger, which is on the website. You are vital to the democratic process, and all of us on the Township Committee would like to see a full room rather than just 3 or 4 people sitting in the room at our meetings. School is opening soon, and we wish all of our school-age children good luck and much success this year. Please be aware and extra cautious in looking out for kids as the schools do open. We'll go to our next public commentary.
Sorry, Mayor, could I add one more thing?
Yes.
Thank you. So you mentioned the retirement of Bernie Sanger, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. I just wanted to say that we have a new assistant engineer that's starting this coming week. So we've had a number of retirements in the engineering department, but happy to have somebody new coming on board this coming week.
Thank you. For our second public commentary, there are currently 7 members of the public joining us via Zoom and 7 members in person. At this time, we will open the meeting to public comment. We'll first take comments from the in-person attendees, and then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please raise your hand on Zoom if you would like to speak. Please state your name and if you're a resident or non-resident. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions that you would like answered, your remaining time will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any members here in the room who would like to speak? Seeing none, Mr. O'Reilly.
Aye, this is 50 Independence Way. I noticed one of the resolutions had to do with leasing parking spaces with St. Thomas More Church. Who owns the parking lot and who is leasing it to whom?
him.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. O'Reilly, for approximately the last 30 years, we rent spaces from the St. Thomas More Church parking lot, that adjacent parking lot to where Blakicki Field is. And we do 2-year agreements with them for those 113 spots. And we use that for resident and non-resident parking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Reilly. Have a good night.
You too.
Seeing no other members from the public wishing to speak, will someone make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the next thing we have on our agenda is a hearing, which begins at 8 p.m. with Basking Ridge Towing Services. So
Can
I
can I
guess,
suggest we take a 5-minute
Is
break?
anyone here from Basking Ridge Towing Services currently? Okay, so we'll take a
yeah, so those, you know,
we'll
you're welcome.
reconvene in- yeah.
You're welcome to stay, but we'll take a 5-minute break for that and start that hearing right at 8 p.m.
Just so everybody knows, we may be taking further action at 8 o'clock related to the hearing. So there may be further governmental action taken.
Thanks for coming out.
Yep, take your time.
You want me to distribute anything for you, Jack?
So as they're getting ready, just to inform the public again, this is a hearing, Basking Ridge Towing Services, alleged violation of Township towing ordinance. And in just a minute, Mr. Cantor will address the situation.
Thank you, Mayor. So for the record, this hearing was duly noticed. The notice was provided. It was personally served on Basking Ridge Towing. The hearing was set for 8 p.m. tonight. There was nobody present from Basking Ridge Towing, either in person or online. This is a revocation hearing of their towing license due to a violation of our township code. Specifically, our code provides that there's an insurance requirement at all times during the term of the license. They must have coverages, and the allegation is that they did not have coverage, therefore they violated our ordinance, and revocation is appropriate. Just briefly, I'm going to be handing Madam Clerk 9 documents which were provided to the committee tonight. They'll be part of the record of this hearing. The sergeant can refer to them or not. So the 9 documents are for you. I'm going to hand them to Madam Clerk. I'll be part of the record.
Thank you, Mr. Cantor.
Thank you so much. We have a sergeant here to put testimony on. Just briefly, Sergeant, could you state your name for the record, please?
Sure. Sergeant Mark Osterhout, Morris Township Police Department.
And redundant, but what is your position in the Morris Township Police Department?
Administrative Sergeant.
And how many years have you served as a sergeant? How long have you been sergeant for Morris Township?
Since January 1st.
Okay. And you're familiar with the facts and circumstances that you're going to testify to tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Could you just briefly give the committee the background and why you believe revocation is appropriate tonight for this towing service?
Sure.
Thank you.
On July 22nd this year, I received notification from the administrator's office, information that Basking Ridge Towing might have been have no insurance. Basking Ridge Towing is one of our on-call towing companies. So I did investigative work, and I did check my files, and the insurance policy that was on file, I did check and call the insurance company. So when I did get the email from the administrator's office, it was Progressive Insurance. The insurance I had on file was a different company. So the one I had on file, I did contact them and they advised me that Basking Ridge Towing had canceled insurance on December 27th, 2024. So I did contact Progressive Insurance. He did have valid insurance at that time. And when I questioned him when the insurance was initiated, they advised me it was May 30th, 2025. So there's a gap of there was no proof of insurance.
So there was no insurance from December 27th, 2024 to May 30th of 2025.
That's correct.
And that was during a period of time in which they were a licensed towing provider in the township?
That's correct.
And as far as you know, there's a requirement to have insurance throughout the entire time that you have a license to tow in the township of Morris?
That's correct.
Okay. Given that there's no objection, there's no testimony to the contrary, I think at this point, the committee could consider a resolution for revocation.
Is there,
Yeah,
Is-
yeah, however you want to do it, Mayor. Should read the resolution, he gets for a motion and a second. Or is there any, sorry, excuse me, any questions for the sergeant? I apologize.
seeing no questions, do we make a motion to revoke what order do we do it in? Do we
I
do
would
the
have, I would have Madam Clerk read the resolution.
read the resolution? Okay.
We give it the number of 206?
206-25.
206-25. Resolution of the town. A resolution of the Township of Morris revoking the towing license of Basking Ridge Towing. Whereas the Township of Morris, the Township, granted Basking Ridge Towing LLC, a licensee, or BRT, a towing license to provide police-requested towing service and/or storage service within the township. And whereas, following an investigation by the police department, the chief of police has determined that there is probable cause for the revocation of this license due to violations of the township code. And whereas adequate notice pursuant to section 460-9A3 of the township code was given to the licensee, that a hearing would be held on August 20th, 2025 by the township committee, prior to a final determination of the complaint served on the committee by the chief of police seeking revocation. And whereas the committee following the hearing was determined that the licensee violated the provisions of the code by failing to maintain insurance as required. And whereas the committee believes that it is in the best interest of the township to revoke the license. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Morris in the County of Morris and State of New Jersey that the towing license granted to Basking Ridge Towing LLC be and is hereby revoked. And be it further resolved that Basking Ridge Towing LLC shall not provide any police-requested towing service and/or storage service within the township unless and until a new license is guaranteed.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 206-25?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Well, the fact that they're not here is very telling. So,
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Grayzel?
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy?
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada?
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz?
yes.
Mayor Guariglia?
Yes. Thank you, Sergeant, for coming out and being here to give us the information necessary to make this decision. And the time is now 8:10. May I have a motion to adjourn the regular session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next regular Township Committee meeting is Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, at 7 p.m. for the regular meeting, 5:30 p.m. for close in the Municipal Building, 50 Woodland Avenue. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Mark, thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you, Mark.